Yeah, I had to just unplug it and plug it back in. I don't know why my mic does that. Sometimes I have to unplug it and plug it back in. That's all right. United Health right now, guys, is ripping up. Robinhood broke all-time highs yesterday. UNH is up to 335s right now. UNH is up because, hold on, let me see. Yeah, United Health is up. I saw the news this morning. They said 78% of its members will be enrolled in 4-star or higher plans this year in 2025. So United Health is up big. Look at this, up to 335s right now from 320s. Big movement for United Health. A couple news releases that happened overnight. We have the Apple of it today. We got the the benchmark payroll revision could sway rate expectations. Futures are up a little bit though today, but the benchmark payroll revision is set for 10 a.m. It may slash job numbers by up to 1 million jobs for the year through March, reinforcing market bets on a 25 basis point cut. Though some are looking for 50 if we get really soft data, but I don't know. We need low inflation data tomorrow and Thursday to justify that. Nebius is up huge. Yeah, you can see Nebius up right here on the right side. This is up big after they inked a deal with Microsoft worth $17.4 billion. We also have CoreWeave, which is another AI stock. Here's CoreWeave. It's up pretty big today, 6.1%. Microsoft up to 500. So rebounding a little bit from the dips. Again, Robinhood went up 16% yesterday on news it's joining the S&P 500. Nvidia bounced back a little bit, but it's kind of given some back this morning. It's at 168s now. It didn't really move at all yesterday for Nvidia, and the Nasdaq is starting to flush down. Look at this news. Or look at this drop on the Nasdaq here. We're at 23.8s. Let's see if there's a reason for this. Yeah, let me know if y'all see any of this news. I don't really see any. China's Premier Li, in meeting with Portuguese Prime Minister, says China is willing to import more qualified agricultural products from Portugal itself. Eli Lilly launching TuneLab platform to give biotech companies access to AI-enabled drug discovery models built through over USD 1 billion in research investment. Is my mic going out again? Dude, my mic just went off and back on again. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if you can. It should be good though. It looks like we're okay here. Let me know if it's too low. Okay, good. All right, yeah, we're fine. But yeah, UK Chancellor Reeves says it's not serious to suggest that the country would need an IMF bailout. It looks like this is mostly driven by Nvidia giving some back this morning. Like, this is mostly Nvidia falling down, dragging the rest of it. We can look at other stocks in AI to see if they're impacting the market, but this looks mostly Nvidia and microchip fall. Apple has their event today. Apple's also been breaking down a little bit, so maybe, you know, people are not very optimistic about the Apple event. Yeah, I don't see any other news that might be swaying things. Not that nothing's out yet. This looks like microchip breaking down though. Yeah, so we did have some news for Nvidia that came out earlier that said, let me see where I saw this earlier. Let me see if I can find it. It was about Nvidia. It said they're basically selling their H2O chips to their main customers from before in China, which was good. You know, obviously it's good for Nvidia, but they're not really holding their gains. I almost want to long this here, but so we'll see what that happens. We'll see if that happens a bit. Dude, these mics are just not good. This is the second time it's turned off today. Very strange. Like, maybe I'm accidentally muting the mic when I press it, is what's going on. It's possible. Let's sync this. Turn the mic green. There we go. And then just leave it alone. Alright. Maybe I'm accidentally pressing the mute button with my yeah. I know. I think what's going on is maybe I'm accidentally hitting the mute button. Let me reduce the sound a little bit. As long as it's not too low, that's fine. But yeah, we had the Nvidia news that they're continuing to sell H2O chips overseas to their main customers. Tesla's down 1.3%, failed breakout. Again, a lot of eyes are going to be on the Apple event today, the iPhone 17 series, which is rumored to be an ultra thin air model. New Apple Watch, AirPods are expected to be unveiled. And so a lot of people are going to be paying attention to Apple today. Although Apple is down, people are less optimistic for this. Oracle, Adobe, AeroVironment, and Rubrik are among companies reporting earnings today. Wolfspeed is up 66% after court approval of restructuring. Oracle's up a little bit. AT&T is down slightly. 20 billion share repurchase plan, but they're still down. Then we had some stuff from JP Morgan that said, despite broad consensus that the Fed will cut rates, JP Morgan warns this easing may trigger a short-term equity sell-off, driven by wage inflation risks, tariff uncertainty, reduced corporate buybacks, and fading retail trading momentum. They suggest diversification into gold, especially amid a potential dollar weakening. The employment benchmark revision added volatile energy to markets, with expectations for a downward revision intensifying Fed cut bets. And then apparently the White House is supposedly preparing a report questioning the BLS data reliability. So again, just to summarize markets today: AI deal-driven jumps, Nebius, CoreWeave, Tech Anglo merger ahead of payroll revision. Robinhood broke all-time highs yesterday. We got the Apple event, and then Fed rate cut expectations. JP Morgan thinks that we're going to drop when we cut rates. So that's where we're at now. NASDAQ has been trending down, but green on the day overall still. But getting closer and closer to break even as we speak. The break even level is 23,798.50, basically right here. This is the previous close. So right here. So we're close to flat, but we're still technically green on the day. Let's do a poll. If we cut rates next week, does the market react in a bullish or bearish way? All right, vote on that poll. The poll's now live. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, I see Octo. It's never gonna hold, but I see it. I almost wish I could short it, to be honest. Like, these have happened in penny stocks all the time. Again, the problem is it's just too low percentage for me. You know, especially up here. Like, a lot of the time what happens is it rips up, it gets big. Maybe it even goes up at the open, and then towards the rest of the day, it just gives it all back when nobody's sitting at their computer, you know? It's just not my style. I'm not gonna mess with it. The payroll revision is going to be released at 10 a.m. today, Eastern Standard Time. So, 10 o'clock, payroll revision. It's not small, I'll put it that way. Yeah, Octo is currently at $50 a share from 135s at the beginning of this month. So in a week, it's gone up ridiculous. It's mostly just a squeeze from pump and dump penny stock gurus. All right, so the UK Economic Secretary to the Treasury, Rigby, says they keep the bank tax regime under review. Okay, so here's the 8Co guy, Dan Ives, calls Sam Altman's World Project the intersection of AI and crypto, compares it to NVIDIA and Palantir. And so Wall Street tech analyst Dan Ives expressed on Monday his excitement and vision for his new role as chairman of 8Co, which is OCTO, the crazy squeeze, a firm that has adopted WLD World as its primary reserve asset. During an interview with CNBC, Ives, a senior research analyst at Wedbush, that he was excited to take over the role given his passion for AI and the potential for decentralized identity verification project. When you think about these orb devices, The iris scanning, in my opinion, is going to be the de facto standard when we think about separating from bots, identifying humans, and ultimately this is really more of an infrastructure play. It's really the intersection of AI and crypto, I've said. He compares World to Nvidia and Palantir. He argued that despite the trillions being poured into large language models and data centers, the future of AI is going to be determined from authentication and identification. Yeah, I mean, he seems look, ACO raised $250 million through private placement to adopt WLD as its primary treasury reserve asset. Tom Lee, Bitmine Immersion Tech, also disclosed $20 million into the company. Yeah, WorldCoin, co-founded by Sam Altman and OpenAI. Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO. The identity verification project that captures people's irises to confirm their humanness. Yeah, and I mean, they tend to think what I think, which is that eventually we're going to have humanoid robots that are indistinguishable from people. You know, and basically, according to them, they think that we're going to scan people's eyes to determine whether they're real or not. I don't know. Maybe it's too early for a play like this. I think this is up too much too quickly, though. And so that's going to label the stock. When it doesn't hold, that's going to label the stock sketchy. And people are going to look at it like a pump and dump versus an actual legitimate company. But what do I know? Maybe I'm wrong. This thing could keep pushing. I have no idea. It's not a stock for Worlds Coin. It's a stock that uses Worlds Coin as its reserve asset. It's OCTO. It's up from $1.35 to $50, hit $83. But this is just a... Again, I've seen these penny stocks run before. They might go up big. This thing might hit $100 at the open and then give it all back for the next few hours. Like, you never really know what this is going to do. It's up way too much. Yeah, I agree, Chris. I think it's way too early. I think it's way too early for this. You know, I don't think we're gonna have indistinguishable I don't think we're gonna have indistinguishable robots for at least another 10 years, 15 years. You know, but what do I know? I might be wrong here. You know? If you look at WorldCoin, let's take a look at WorldCoin. I mean, it's up big in the last day with the Octo squeeze, right? When you take a longer look at it, though, not the strongest, you know. We'll see. We'll see. I should have bought it. I was thinking about buying the NASDAQ down here. I thought we would bounce. We did. All right. Yeah, for sure, Pawn, 100%. I'm assuming there's no shorts available to it. Is right. I haven't even tried, but I'm assuming there's no shorts. I would take a small position short in it right now if I could. I think it's too early. You know, they're talking about iris verification for humanoid robots, and we don't have humanoid robots yet. And maybe they're in, like, early, but I still think, you know, I don't think they're going to hold right now. With that said, I have no idea what they're going to do. Do not copy me. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Be smart. I can't guarantee anything. French Prime Minister Bayrou is heading to the LC to hand in his resignation. Yum Brands announces Chris Turner as CEO on October 1st. Roy as CFO. Sean Cressavant as CCO. And Taco Bell CEO. I don't know what that means. DKS upgraded at City. TKO downgraded at Seaport. TKO down today. People were telling me to buy TKO yesterday. It's not really down much though today. It still went up yesterday, so probably still would have been a good buy. Again, it's just it's too close to all-time highs for me to be interested in buying that. All right, we did a poll. We asked people, if we cut rates next week, does the market react in a bullish or bearish way? 62% say bull reaction, 38% say bear reaction. I don't know. And then look at gold here. Gold's still ripping up, almost at $3,700 an ounce. I'm probably gonna buy a little bit of gold as a day trade right now. It's gonna be a longer term day trade. I'm gonna trade an account that I'm okay with losing money on. But I think gold's gonna push up to at least test some of these levels up here. So I'm gonna buy a little bit of gold, longer term day trade. We will see what happens here. I think gold futures close to 3,700. I think it wants to test that level. And I think with the benchmark revision to payrolls coming today, you know, we might add a little bit on a pullback down to like 691 and then use a small risk down here at 690 or so. The plan right now. Do they have micro gold? Actually, I'm going to cut this flat and get into micro gold. This is too big. Yeah. Wait, I can't trade? Okay, wait. Slash MGC. Okay, got it. All right. All right, we're back in micro gold now. Okay, we're going to add to this down here. We're basically flat right now, which is fine. Micro gold is MC. It's it's GMC or MGC is what it is. Yeah, people are saying oof like I'm down big or something in position. I got out completely break even. Like look. Like literally 0-0 here. So, I mean, there we go. Now we're pushing up. See if we hold. Yeah, I think gold wants to test 37 in gold futures, but you never know. I think I maybe took a little bit too large of size up here. Let me see if I can cut this here. Problem with micro gold is that there's no liquidity right here, dude. I have to mark it in and mark it out. I just want to see if it'll fill me. Alright, there's one. Alright, that's good. I'm not used to trading gold, but we're up really nicely in this already. I'm gonna take a little bit more off here. There we go. Now we can just kind of sit on the rest. Well, I wanted to, what I did is I originally took too large a size here in gold. And so I don't want to take 5 contracts. That's too big. If I want to hold it long term, I got to limit it, you know. Uh, yeah, this is the annual benchmark revision. I think they're revising it up to March. Yeah, so every year the BLS is going to revise its NFP employment estimates, done by comparing the monthly survey-based payroll data with the more comprehensive quarterly census of employment and wages, which is called the QCEW, covers nearly all U.S. employers. Again, the BLS is going to publish the prelim estimates of how much payrolls for the year ending March 25th will be revised downward. Or March of 2025 is going to be revised downward. And so, again, analysts are expecting 450 to 800,000 revised jobs down, which would mean actual average monthly job gains were much weaker. If that makes sense, right? So, and then the final benchmark. This is the prelim one. The final one's going to be in February next year. If the revision is large and downward, it signals the labor market has been weaker than expected. Nasdaq's starting to rise up a little bit here. Let's take a look at yields. I don't think I've looked at yields or rate expectations. So again, rate expectations still at 90-10 split, basically 90-10 split. Still 90% chance that we're going to cut rates 25 basis points next week, a 10% chance that we're not. If we take a look at yields, yesterday they were about 4.068. Or no, I guess that's where they're at today. Here, let me see. They're a little elevated today, actually. But they're up slightly. They were down at they opened today at about 4.05%. They're now at 4.07 or roughly for 10-year yields. Where's Bitcoin at today? Bitcoin back up to 113s in futures, which is good for Bitcoin, I think, right now. I think markets expect easing maybe on this payroll data. That might be good for Bitcoin. America says consumer sentiment remains positive with clients borrowing for working capital and beginning to invest in their businesses, supporting robust second half loans. Yeah, gold is not really moving anymore, unfortunately. I want to give it some time, but we took some profit a couple times already, but range is small, unfortunately. My Marvel position's up really nicely here. Remember, we're in Marvel, MRVL. It's up to 65, 66 almost. If you guys remember, we bought that a few days ago. Average price of 62 right now. HIMS as well. HIMS is up a lot too. Yeah, UNH is up because they said about 78% of their members are going to be in 4-star plus plans this year in 2025, they think. United Health is up from it, up to 335. Yeah, well, I might sell this now. It's pretty small. Like, we scaled out of it and took profit already. I'll let it test these lows and then we'll get out if we need to. I'm worried we're just going to chop down to 390 in range. Maybe I should have bought at the bottom down here. Gold futures got up to 36.98. We got so close. Packaging Group surged 3,000% on plan to buy Sam Altman backed WorldCoin token. So 8K holdings up, raises 270 million to buy crypto coins linked to OpenAI's Chief's digital ID project. Yeah, that's OCTO. Yeah, I'm gonna let it test 390 and then I'll cut it if it breaks underneath. I'm not used to day trading gold. So, I mean, we're just kind of horsing around with it, but we've already taken some profit off of it. But it's probably a little bit too risky to buy up there. I just thought it would make a push for 3,700. But I'm not used to day trading it. Yeah, I'm gonna cut it right here. We'll put the NASDAQ back up. UK Prime Minister spokesman Powell is at the cabinet. Finance Minister Reeve says the government was focused on going further to support the Bank of England in reducing inflation, controlling public spending, and driving growth. Oh yeah, we do have GameStop earnings today. I don't think I'm going to stream it. I usually, I haven't been streaming it recently. This song's a little bit too quiet for me. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not really interested in GameStop earnings anymore, to be honest. I think they've lost too much interest They're not the big movie they once were, the big interesting stock though they once were. And so because of that, it's just hard to really like. It's hard to yeah. It's hard to really be involved with them, you know. I just don't. It might be a waste of time. Yeah, JP Morgan did say the markets might sell off. So JP Morgan said despite the consensus that the Fed's going to cut rates, they warned that easing may trigger a short-term equity sell-off. Is what they said. Driven by wage inflation risks, tariff uncertainty, corporate buybacks, and retail trading momentum, they suggest diversification into gold amid potential dollar weakening regarding rate cuts. Basically, they think we're going to react negatively to rate cuts. That might be true. I don't know. Maybe we do. Nvidia bouncing back though. It's at 169. That's good. You know. Yeah, we do have the news that's releasing today. Scrolling at the bottom. I think it depends on what the data shows up as tomorrow. Is what I really think it depends on. Like I think if the data tomorrow shows low inflation, it might be a little bit more optimistic regarding rate cuts. I think if the data tomorrow shows high inflation, it might make rate cuts might make people panic a little bit. Or we could have like a buy the rumor, sell the news event. That's possible too. It's just risky. Just be careful, you know. Yeah, Robinhood broke all-time highs yesterday. Look at Robinhood. Still sitting close. Where's its new all-time high? Oh no, it didn't actually break all-time highs. It got close. It didn't quite break it. All-time high are 118.45s back in July. Yeah, we got payroll revisions today at 10 a.m. PPI inflation data drops tomorrow, which is a really relevant report. We'll see what that looks like, but Marvel's still pushing up. Bitcoin down to 113s, but it's still up on the day. It's still green on the day technically. What are you guys interested in buying today? I'll take a look at some of it if you guys have some stuff to watch. Yeah, I don't know about Octo. Yeah, I don't know about Octo. Again, it could run crazy. It really could. The problem is that, like, it could run crazy. But it also could fade in a crazy way, too, today. You never know. And so, in either way, I don't think it's necessarily going to hold its gains, is what I think. You know? Like, I don't think it's going to hold, unfortunately. What do you guys think? And here's OCTO right here. It's up to 52. It hit highs yesterday at 83. Time will CPI release. CPI releases tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, so CPI drops tomorrow, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. The problem is Open loses money, right? And so, like, Open has a good technical trend, but it loses money as a company. You know? Like, that's the real problem with Open, is that it loses money as a company. Yeah, we don't have any 8:30 news today. Not really. Let me make sure. Oh, no, wait. We might have something small here. Hold on. No. Again, we got the payroll benchmark revision is expected about 600,000 revised down. We do have that, 10 a.m. No 8:30 news today. Interactive brokers, Sammy boy. I mean, I like the brokerage. Apple has their big event today. Again, people think they're going to be... There's rumors of an ultra-thin model. iPhone 17 series. New Apple Watch, AirPods. And so, you can watch Apple today as well. AAPL. It's been moving up over the last few weeks, though. So it's been doing okay the last couple weeks. CoreWeave has been up, I think, right? CRWB. Yeah, CoreWeave is up to almost $100 a share right now. Nasdaq turning downward here. We had Mexican core inflation show up at 0.22%, higher than expected. Uber and Sephora are going to bring on Demand Beauty across America partnership. 12-month core inflation for Mexico is 4.23%, expected 4.21%. 12-month inflation for August, 3.57% versus 3.57% expected. Headline inflation, 0.06% versus 0.06% expected. Yeah, we have job revision numbers. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got the payroll revision today. It's at 10 a.m. They're expecting jobs to be revised downward about 600,000 jobs. Could be up to 1 million. It drops at 10 a.m. So, yeah. It's today. We don't have any 8:30 data. Remember, chat, no 8:30 data. So. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if we get really weak numbers, it makes the odds for a 50 basis point cut much higher. The problem, though, is that we need price stability. Like, we need low inflation tomorrow, especially with like PPI and CPI. Like, we need low inflation. If we don't get low inflation tomorrow and Thursday, we're not going to cut rates 50. You know, not in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I could always be wrong. And remember, guys, understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. But if we don't get low inflation data, we're not going to be cutting 50 for sure. And who knows how much we will cut. But if we don't get low inflation, we're not going to be cutting 50. It's just not a reasonable expectation, I think. You know? So guys, we are actually green here in one of our accounts. Let me make sure I'm in the right one. Where is it? Oh, okay, I'm in gold. I'm in micro gold right here. Look at this trade. You'll love to see it. We're gonna kind of slowly scale out of it, and we are now green on the trade, or on the day. We longed gold right around the 200 exponential. We're net green on the day. We're green on this trade. I'm trying to let it run a little bit longer. Gold got a spike. I still want to let this run up. We're up about 25 ticks on this right now for gold. I'm probably going to cut it before the 200 exponential right here. I'll just cut it right there and just end green. You'd love to see it. Show you guys the trades. That was nice. I wanted to long it up to the 200 exponential, but there we go. Probably could have kept holding it, but it's okay. So if we have low inflation data, we could cut 50 basis points. I mean, it's possible. I still think a 25 basis point cut's the most probable outcome. Even if we have low inflation data, right? It depends on which inflation data is low and which one's not. If we get both of them low, the odds of 50 come up much more. But if just one of them's low and one of them's high, we're not going to cut 50, I don't think. So it just depends, right? It depends on what data. What's up, Sam? Yeah, I don't think 25 is going to make a big difference anyway. But all right, so we're out of gold. Nasdaq starting to rebound back up. Yeah, I mean, some would argue 50s. I think the Fed's going to be balanced, though. You know what I mean? I think they're going to be balanced. I don't think they're going to... Yeah, I think they're going to be balanced as they can. Again, NBIS is up today. A couple other stuff is up, but Apple has their event today. Again, ultra thin iPhone. Look at gold popping right back up. Maybe I should have held, but I ended up buying it down here and riding it up, so be all right. But probably could have held it a little bit longer. What does balance mean? Well, balance means they're going to cut rates enough to pander to people pushing for rate cuts, but they're not going to cut it enough to spike inflation in any meaningful way. You know, that, or they're going to end quantitative tightening and pause, or maybe they'll end QT and cut 25 basis points. I think that would be a good balance. Ending QT, cut 25 basis points. Both of those things are dovish, stimulative, and but we're not doing QE. You know, we're not cutting 50. I think that's probably a good balance, is ending QT, especially at MBSs. It'll help bring mortgage rates down, help stimulate that market. You know, cut a little bit, but not so much as to make people fearful of inflation. But again, it's all going to depend on 10 a.m. today, 8:30 tomorrow, 8:30 Thursday. Exactly, V. That's what I think is the right move, personally. But again, it's very subjective here, of course. It's very subjective. Look at gold rip. Look at gold rip. We get a little micro pullback. I'll buy back into it, I think. But 10 a.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. Central time. Yeah, 8:30 tomorrow. We have PPI inflation data. Yeah, that's a big day. We'll see what happens. All right, so Vietnam is going to launch a 5-year pilot program to allow Bitcoin and crypto trading. So I asked AI to summarize the benchmark revision news, and it gave me an answer already. It said downward revision of 800,000 jobs for the year through March 2025. Bro, if we show up at 800,000 at 10 a.m., AI just predicted the future. Remember, 800K is what AI said. This is what AI just told me. Yeah, if we show up at 800,000 at 10 a.m. today, AI just predicted the future. We'll see. It says average monthly gains now closer to 67 versus 150 reported. Confirms the software labor market field fed cut bets. Let's ask it. This data has not been released yet. Sir. Or madam. Heck are you talking about, AI? Absolutely, you're spot on. The data hasn't been released yet. Freaking chat GPT, bro. Come on now. Yes. This is better. Give me a follow on x.com at beginner trades, at beginner trades. BEGINNERTRADES. Beginner trades. Do it now. All right, guys. All right, we just posted about it on our X page if you want like the preview and what to look for. Yeah, there's gold. Rip it up. Again, maybe I should have bought this little micro pullback at 36.92. I made money on the trade. My original thesis was correct about gold going up. I just didn't hold the original one long enough. All right, so the BLS releases prelim. I swear, some of these people posting this might be listening to me. They're talking about the same time I'm talking about. Yeah, the BLS will release the prelim 25 benchmark revisions 10 a.m. It will follow in February 2026 the final numbers alongside the January employment report for each year. Establishment survey estimates are benchmarked to comprehensive counts of employment from quarterly census of employment and wages QCEW for the month of March, derived from state employment insurance tax records that nearly all employees are required to file, and so it's more accurate. The September release will provide only the implied revision to the March level of payrolls. No historical data yet updated. Bloomberg consensus shows analysts expect a print of negative 698,000 or negative 702,000 for Bloomberg. Estimates ranging from negative 250 to negative 900. Some people are expecting 1 million payrolls revised downward. Obviously, the higher number that shows up for this, the weaker jobs were. Looking back in time. Meanwhile, Fed Governor Waller warned he expects the prelim revisions will show that monthly job creation will be reduced by an average of 60,000 a month, indicating a 720,000 downward revision on an annualized basis. Bank of America thinks we'll get 500K to 1 million. Yeah, so 10 a.m. Yeah, Goldman thinks we're going to get 950 or more. Well, there's only one AI system that makes stuff up like that, and it's ChatGPT. ChatGPT is the one that does it. I don't know why they do it. But they just make stuff up half the time. We'll cover GameStop. I mean, yeah, we'll cover it when it drops. Or actually, no, we're not going to stream it. It's not worth it to stream, to be honest. All right, look at NVIDIA climbing back up here. So this is mostly NVIDIA driving this move. We also have Apple up here, but Apple is climbing up a little bit. Microsoft had a deal with another company. I think it was NVIS. Google, slightly green on the day. Amazon, flat. Netflix at 1250 still, which is crazy. Bitcoin's up a little bit today, which is good. NASDAQ is going to invest $50 million into Bitcoin and crypto exchange Gemini as well. I don't see a big rate cut coming. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if they pause. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it's going to depend on the inflation data. Again, tomorrow and Thursday are going to be pivotal for what they do regarding rates. It's going to be really important what they do regarding rates is tomorrow. LEU. I mean, this has been a good stock on the year. It's a little bit too extended for me to trade it. Like, it's up too much on the year. It started the year off at what, like $60? It's at 204 right now. Just talking about year to date in 2025. It's nuclear energy. Nuclear stocks have seen some growth for sure this year. But for me, it's up a little bit too much right now. It's got a little pullback. It just depends. Like, looking at a longer term chart. Got a good long-term trend. But I have to look for a dip now. Yeah, I mean, just to clarify, I don't think we're necessarily going to pause. It could happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but anything's possible. You never really know how markets are going to behave and about how Powell. Again, it's going to depend on the inflation data. Although I think we're honestly too close to next week's meeting. And especially when like CPI comes out, I think we're too close to next week's meeting to change the tune in any significant way, unless the data just shows wildly over or under, right? But outside of that, I don't think we're gonna change. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna change the tune. I think we're gonna cut 25 basis points next week, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I just don't think we're gonna change the tune in that regard. Yeah. I think we're gonna cut 25, probably. What do you guys think? What do you guys think we do next week? Wells Fargo CFO says consumer is strong, spending is up, and delinquency rates are low. CEO of Banca Sabadell says BBVA's offer to Sabadell might not be the last one. Some 12 firms are said to be selling U.S. investment grade bonds today ahead of inflation data starting Wednesday, according to Bloomberg, citing an informal survey of debt underwriters. Stablecoin issuer Figure Technology set to upsize its IPO, according to a source. Again, Comerica says consumer sentiment remains positive. Clients borrowing for working capital and beginning to invest in their businesses, supporting robust second half of the year loan pipeline. BBVA even said that its offer for Banco de Sabadell may not be the final bid. Alt season? I don't know, brother. I don't know. Altcoins want easing, right? They want lower interest rates and economic stimulus. I just don't know if we need that right now. Again, the payrolls today will be interesting. The revisions to the payrolls. Again, Figure Technology, UPS, IPO price range 20 to 22 a share from 18 to 20 a share, according to sources. Ben & Jerry's co-founders call to be released from the Magnum ice cream and its new investors ahead of upcoming CEO. Gold pulling back a little bit. United Health still elevated today after they said 78% of their members are going to be in 4-star plus plans. Bitcoin to 200 by Christmas, maybe. Again, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. I appreciate it. Also, check out Top Step if you want to help support the channel. There's no PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold. You saw me day trading gold earlier. We're green on the day trading gold. And again, you can day trade commodities. You can day trade NASDAQ, QQQ price action, futures, the S&P price action in futures. No PDT roll. Patterns are very similar to day trading stocks. You can get started for 50 bucks. If you fail, you lose 50 bucks. It's not the end of the world. If you pass it, 50K funded account, 90% split. You get to keep your first 10K in profit. You can reset your funded account now with the back to funded option. Zero commission on Top Step X. Some of the best rules in the game and funding. Genuinely useful for traders trying to learn how to trade. It just makes sense. I think it just makes sense. Most day traders lose, including here. Regardless of where you go, most day traders lose. Frankly, it's a lot cheaper to lose here. But they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. Can't guarantee anything, guys. Don't copy me. And I'll put the link up in chat if you want to help support the channel. I appreciate it. But yeah, we're green on the day. We'll see if we can hold on to it. You know, I'm curious to see what the market direction is going to be leading into this payroll revision today. There's the link right there if you want to check it out. I'll put it to the top. But yeah, I'm curious to see what we're going to get with the payroll revision today. Yeah, look at CRWD here. We talked about Octo. Look at CRWD here, man. It's crazy too. Nothing here is financial advice. You can read the top of the screen, bro. Read the top of the screen. We are not market professionals, not liable for losses. Trading performance varies. Here you go. Just for you saying that here, I'm gonna add this to it. Maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller, more reasonable, huh? There you go. So I'm gonna put this on the bottom. I think it works better on the bottom, actually. Now look at CRWD start to pull back. NASDAQ really sideways though. It's kind of battling that 200 exponential. Yeah, all good, Chris. Yeah, I mean, we're not in a recession yet, you know, and people like to say recession because most of the time it's political, right? Like if they want certain party to do bad, they'll say, oh, we're in a recession. They did it with the previous president, and you see them doing it now with the current president. Different people, of course, but like same thing, like, oh, we're in a recession. No, we're not. No, we're not yet. You know, when's the next GDP come out? Last GDP showed up at what? Hold on. 3.3% for quarter 2 of this year, right? And it's lagging. We did drop 0.5% in the first quarter of 2025 in terms of GDP. I think the next one is the finalized quarter 2 number. So unless that contracts significantly, we're not in a recession right now. The only way you could say we're in a recession is if quarter 2 turns from 3.3 to a negative number. And that's not happening. And then even if this is lagging data, we still wouldn't technically be in a recession because you need 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters to be in a recession. And so if last quarter was 3.3%, what does that mean, guys? That means we're not in a freaking recession. And again, it's too political. People make it too political. Like they want us to be in a recession so they can critique or whatever. The reality of it is we're just not in one yet. We might have weak labor numbers, but yeah, it's a buzzword. Honestly, I criticize the Phillies' Karen. I criticize her. How dare she take that ball? It wasn't her ball, dude. In baseball games, listen. A ball lands in the stands, it's open season on that ball. If you don't get it in your hand, it's not yours, right? She was just slow, couldn't grab the ball in time, got mad because she was slow, said it was in her area, so it should have been her ball. Like, how ridiculous. Like, if the ball lands within a 5-foot radius of me, I just say it's my ball. Nobody else can even try to grab it. Get out of here, lady. The audacity of that lady. You know? Honestly, I think karma got her. The universe tends to unfold as it should. And karma got the Philly baseball Karen. Good. I support it. Since jobs are in the gutter, I think markets won't react downward to inflation reports. No. I'm not going to criticize the guy for giving the ball back. If you got some crazy lady in your face and it's your son's birthday, you know, he's just trying to de-escalate the situation. You know what I mean? And so I think that's probably the mature thing to do. And it ended up helping him, honestly. That kid ended up getting a lot more than a Harrison Bader home run ball. He ended up getting a signed bat and a bunch of other stuff too. I mean, yeah, I know some people that are kind of Karen-y when they're in public. They're mean to servers. It's kind of embarrassing to go anywhere around them, to be honest, because like I just don't behave that way, you know. But now everything's on the internet, and so I'm just sitting there thinking they're gonna get themselves on the internet. They keep behaving like that, man. I'm usually very nice to everybody, regardless. Service is hard. Like, I think it depends on if you've worked in the service industry. If you've worked in the service industry, you're usually not going to be a jerk to servers because you've experienced it. I think some older people, they grew up before cameras were there, and so they're used to being able to kind of act up without much consequences for it. And I think that's why you see people behave that way. Not usually young people, it's usually older people. All right, AMD at 151s. Yeah, it's 10 a.m., guys, 10 a.m. We don't have any 8:30 data. It's at 10 a.m. There's a big scrolling letters at the bottom of the screen. Again, they're expecting a revised down between 600,000 to 800,000 jobs. We got a lot of crazy squeezes, though, in small cap land. OCTO is running up. Look at OCTO at $51. CRW, or what is it? CRD? What was it? I just had it up. What is it? Yeah, CWD. Up from $2 yesterday to $30 today. So a lot of small caps are running. Yeah, NBIS did a deal with Microsoft. It's up to almost $100 a share. Hines, what's your definition of a recession, sir? CPI tomorrow's at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Because here's the problem. You want to know the real problem. All right, and this is the problem that I see with it. All right, is that you got some people that were criticizing the change in the technical definition of a recession a few years ago when somebody else was president. Right? And again, I'm not political. I'm not against you. I'm not for you either. I'm very neutral politically. But you got some people that were criticizing people not going by the technical. I love you. Have a good day. You got some people that were criticizing people not going by the technical definition of a recession a few years ago, saying we were in a recession and all this other stuff, right? But then a lot of the same people now are saying we're in a recession and they're going against the technical definition of it. And so I think you got to look at it objectively. We're not quite there yet. We don't really have listen, to be objective right now, we do have some weak signs for the labor market. Absolutely we do, right? We got weaker payroll numbers. We got Q1 GDP was negative. We show weak signs for the labor market. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Hey, buddy. Love you. Good day, man. You okay? Yeah. And so I think we got to go by the technical definition. That's all we got. Yeah, some sectors are lagging because of technology evolution. I understand. You know, brick and mortar stores are struggling, guys. That's just how it goes. You know, people like to bring up tech, but brick and mortar stores are struggling right now. They've been struggling. And again, I would argue this is the natural evolution of technology. Oh, sorry, I forgot to change this. Today we have big benchmark revision data for payrolls. There you go. PPI is tomorrow, and the last PPI report was really bad. It was not good at all. It was really, really bad. Yeah, this is what happens most of the time with these penny stock pump and dumps. They go up really big, they get sold off really big, and then maybe they rebound, and then they kind of go into the dumpster. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with this. I don't know. But I might actually day trade this right here. Hold on, let me see. Still looking at gold, but... yeah, UNH had some good news today. They were up after they said 78% of their members are in 4-star plus plans. CRWV is up as well. Robinhood got close to all-time highs yesterday. It didn't quite break it from my charting, but got close to it. Yeah, no, like I said, labor's not looking good. I'm not here to argue labor looks fine. I don't think it looks fine. I think it looks bad. And I think that's why I'm okay with cutting. But I don't think we're in a recession yet. Tesla eyes Bay Area airports for ride-hailing service, according to Politico. Again, we talked about earlier, Vietnam approved 5-year trial program for crypto trading platforms. The current administration asked the Supreme Court to allow it to freeze billions in foreign aid. That dropped yesterday. NASDAQ back up here. Put a 5-minute chart up. A little bit cleaner. CWD falling back down a little bit here. United Health falling back down too, but it's up on the day. CoreWeave, CRWV. Up to 100s. Halloween music? What we're here for, brother. Huh? All right, so 12 Senate Democrats have released a new framework for Bitcoin and crypto market structure legislation. Look at that Bitcoin. Look at CoreWeave spike here. Magnum Ice Cream says Ben & Jerry's is not for sale. Again, a lot of eyes are going to be on the Apple event. What time is the Apple event? The Apple event is going to be at 10 o'clock as well, right when the payroll numbers come out. Or no, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Californians. Did y'all hear Bruce right there? I don't understand, with all the advancements in tech, AI, and robots, why aren't things getting cheaper? Because things don't get cheaper. You know? Things never get cheaper. They only get cheaper if we're in a deep recession or depression, and it doesn't last for very long. You know, again, we can look at CPI inflation graph over the last 25 years. Okay? 25 years, we can look at this. All right, here's CPI inflation over 25-year period right now. What you'll notice is that CPI prices almost never literally go down. The only time they went down in the last 25 years was in 2008. And it didn't last long. Eventually prices spiked by 2009. They started moving back up by 2010. They were 3-4% a year again. And so what you see is that prices don't go down ever, almost ever. They slow down. So when they say we want price stability, this is what they're really talking about. They want slower growth to prices. Like, no matter what, you're gonna get an average of at least 2% inflation over a 10-year period. You know, and like, if you take a look at it, you have to hedge with something. I do this at least once or twice a week, but you got to hedge with something here. All right, because if you don't hedge with something, you're going to lose money to inflation over time. And so the way you do it is you hedge with something. So you buy gold, you buy S&P, you buy NASDAQ, you buy Dow, you know, you buy real estate. Real estate can be an inflation hedge. Because if you don't, again, if you have $100,000 and you lose, let's just say 2.5% average per year to price increases to inflation, right? Within 20 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You're going to lose 40% of your money within 20 years. In 30 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're going to lose over half of your money. And so if you do not hedge against inflation, and this is the problem that I see, like, I see a lot of people say, hey guys, if you invest $200 a week, you know, in 20 years, you know, you'll have $1 million. It's like, yeah, you will, but $1 million's not going to be worth nearly as much as it is now in 20 years. And so you're basically protecting yourself with inflation by investing into things. And if you don't, you're going to lose your money over time. This is the natural evolution of price, unfortunately. And prices don't actually go down. Not really. And so you got to understand it. I'm using Top Step. If you want to check it out, link is pinned at the top of the chat. Great way to learn how to day trade. Most day traders lose, right? You get people that criticize things, but like, the reality is most day traders are going to lose. Doesn't matter where you go, who your mentor is, what course you take, you're probably about to lose money day trading in the beginning. And so why fund your own account thousands of dollars? It makes no sense. Instead, base one's $50 on Top Step. If you fail, it's not the end of the world. If you pass it, 50K funded account, 90% split, they pay out millions. It's a great way to learn. Most day traders lose. They're a sponsor of mine. I get paid by them. I'm biased. Understand all this stuff. I can't guarantee anything. I don't even claim to be a good trader. Not an investment professional. Again, you can see the big thing at the bottom. You know, nothing here is financial advice. Don't copy me. All right, so the Italian government still sees 0.6% growth target in 2025 this year, according to Bloomberg sources. Italy interest savings assumptions are European 5 billion in 2025 and Euro 8 billion in 2026. Italy's lower bond yields reap 13 billion euros windfall for PM Meloni. It might move markets. It depends on what the numbers show up as. Yeah, and if anything, just to criticize how it used to go, man, like coins used to be made of actual precious metals, right? Like they literally used to be made of actual precious metals. And so if we would have stayed on those standards, we wouldn't be dealing with nearly as much inflation as we are now. Our money would be worth far more than it is now, unfortunately. And yeah, unfortunately, it's not like that now. Unfortunately, our coins are virtually worthless now. It's mostly bills, which is just paper. And in terms of precious metals, that is. And so, yeah, should have stayed on the precious metal standard. But, you know. Yeah, we're at 90-10 exactly for rate cut odds next month. Or next week. 90-10 still. 90-10, 25 basis point cut, 90%, 50 basis point, 10% odds. Yeah, UNH is up pretty decently. CWD ripped again here. Look at this. We got some squeezes in penny stock land. Yeah, and unfortunately, you got to keep up with taxes too, like property tax, income tax, sales tax. It's all ridiculous, you know. When you consider the inflationary aspect of money plus the triple tax that U.S. citizens receive, or residents, I should say, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for sure. Especially property taxes. I'm really against property taxes, but I'd be okay if they got rid of income tax as well, to be honest. Just up the sales tax. All right, Nvidia, guys, has not had a good couple weeks here. Look at Nvidia. Here's an hourly chart. Nvidia's dropped from about 185s all the way down to 169s, where it's sitting now. All right, guys, so we got 45 minutes until the opening bell. We're sitting tight here. We're green on the day. We made some money. Yeah, I mean, maybe, Jesse. But again, I'd still rather them get rid of income tax, personally, for me. Either way, people are getting taxed way too much. It's not really benefiting. After all the big earnings releases, everything should settle. The next big thing should be rate cuts, right? I mean, we're probably going to cut rates next month as of now. And unless the inflation data comes out, the only way we're not going to cut rates next week is if inflation data comes out tomorrow and Thursday elevated. And it'd have to be pretty elevated to reduce the rate cut odds, in my opinion, in any significant way. I think we're too close to the next meeting for them to pivot away from what the plan is now, and I think what the plan is now is rate cuts, probably. Yeah, that might be true, Jesse, for sure. But I think we need to be easier on millionaires and harder on billionaires is what I think we need to do. Yeah, CWD, look at this, $50 a share. Again, I can't get it. It's such a gamble play to mess with this, though. Like, it's just not my style. Not my style. Yeah, Robinhood was added to the S&P. Pretty close to all-time highs. It didn't quite break them yet, though. All-time highs 117.70. It broke all-time highs, but it didn't do it in actual market hours. So it didn't register as an all-time high break. But Robinhood got added to the S&P effective September 22nd. See what that looks like. All right, chat. Benchmark revision to payrolls coming in an hour and 10 minutes. We got 40 minutes into the opening bell. We got a lot of small cap runners today. Again, we got the Apple iPhone launch, the iPhone 17 launch coming out. I think it's at 1 o'clock Eastern time. 1 o'clock Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific. We got the benchmark revision to payrolls dropping at 10 a.m. We had some news today. Again, Robinhood broke highs 16% in pre-market yesterday. Didn't really hold it during market hours, but up a little bit. Joining the S&P as of September 22nd. Nvidia is basically flat. Tesla's down a little bit, but Tesla might have been moving some here. Yeah, Tesla's actually up a little bit today. It's almost at 350s. Again, Apple, are y'all bullish or bearish on the Apple event? Again, the new iPhone is supposed to come out, iPhone 17. There's rumors that it's going to be an ultra-thin Air model. New Apple Watch, AirPods expected to be unveiled. Again, this is the day before PPI inflation data, and the last PPI was really bad. And again, JP Morgan came out this morning that said despite the consensus that the Fed's going to cut rates next week, they think that easing may trigger a short-term sell-off in equities. They basically think they think we're going to get a market sell-off from rate cuts. They said it's driven by wage inflation risks, tariff uncertainty, reduced corporate buybacks, and fading retail trading momentum. They suggest diversification into gold and other stuff. Again, I'm not saying I agree with this. I don't know. I think they could be right, though. But I don't know. Again, the employment benchmark revision drops at 10 a.m. That puts another question mark on labor. Again, and the White House is reportedly preparing a report questioning the BLS data's reliability, which injects more political scrutiny into labor reports, which will be another interesting thing to follow. We've day traded gold mostly this morning. We're watching the NASDAQ. It's been very flat, very stagnant, not really doing anything here. That's our top signal. What do you think of Elon's $1 trillion package? I think it's pretty far out in terms of actually being able to accomplish it. What's the number? Isn't it like 6 trillion or something like that? Like that would make, or it's like 8 trillion. You know, like that would mean Tesla would have to be more valuable than Nvidia, or twice as valuable as Nvidia. And so I don't know. All right, so I see some news that just came out. India finance minister to NDTV says India's diplomatic team is engaging with the United States. That's good. Yeah, 8.5 trillion. That would mean it's twice as big as Nvidia. And again, it could happen. It could happen. Like the way it would happen is that Tesla gets more deeply ingrained in AI systems. But it's gonna be a long way out. I don't freaking know, man. Ooh. Yeah, I kind of want to buy this again in the NASDAQ here. I'm thinking about it. I might take a little position now. That's fine. We're green on the day. We'll look to add down to that 230 or 830 level. We should have bought a little bit more here. Yeah, add a little bit more. The only worry I have is that, like, if the market gets baked into a weak payroll report, maybe they're going to react negatively to it. It's not my favorite time to buy the market right now, like buy blue chips, just because we're at highs, and I think, you know, there's whispers of bubbles and all this stuff. Normally, though, at the same time, just to go against what I just said, I think most of the time when markets are at all-time highs, they continue going up, right? And people have this misconception that just because we're at highs, like the market's got to pull back some. Listen, what goes up doesn't necessarily have to go back down in finance, right? And if anything, the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow don't go back down to where it was prior a lot of the time. And so it's kind of middle ground what to do here. I prefer just kind of waiting instead of adding to positions right here at the top. But with that said, it's certainly possible you could miss out on another run here if we do start to pick up steam. You know, what do you guys think you do? Do you think the market continues up from here? Do you think we see like a correction or a bubble pop? I'm not necessarily against either one of those predictions. I think either one of them could easily happen. Yeah, I mean, if you DCA, you're still going to be okay, most likely, at least. Not an investment professional, but if you keep adding to it, of course, you'll probably be fine. Bigger catalyst for a bubble pop? Yeah, that might be true. All right, we got the opening bell in about 30 minutes. I'm going to end this poll. We asked people if we cut rates next week, does the market react bullish or bearish? 70% of people think we have a bullish reaction to this. I'm going to do another poll. Are you bullish or bearish heading into today's opening bell? Vote on that. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to add a little bit to this position now since I'm green. Piece off up here. Got the rest right there. Just quick little trade. I'll take it. Green is good. Gives me a little bit of cushion for the open. Redbook came in at 6.6%. Again, 6.6% for Redbook. The previous was 6.5%. Bitcoin accumulator addresses just hit a record high of 266,000 plus Bitcoin. Okay, according to Wolf, the president's policies is unlikely to end U.S. equity rally. So going off of what we just said, Wolf Research says recent policy shifts by the president, tariffs, Fed issues, and stimulus moves are unlikely to derail the U.S. equity rally. Analysts noted possible tariff refunds after a court ruling, but expect markets to absorb the impact even if the president reinstates tariffs later. Concerns about the Fed's independence, including a potential firing of Governor Cook, are seen as having a limited near-term effect. He also highlighted stimulus from One Big Beautiful Bill and suggested weak payrolls may reflect immigration limits rather than soft demand. They expect these dynamics to support economic re-acceleration into next year. And so the bottom line, they think, is that near-term policy risks look manageable and markets remain supported through the year end. I also see some news that came out not that long ago about Apple investors shifting their focus from tariffs to AI. They said with tariffs largely managed through supply chain moves, Wedbush analyst says Apple's main challenge is its lagging AI strategy. They suggest Apple should continue to pursue partnerships or acquire Perplexity and expect deeper collabs with Google's Gemini to follow the recent antitrust ruling. Wedbush maintains an outperform rating and a 270 price target for Apple. We can put a timer up. There's a timer right there. Yeah, but Apple's a hardware company. I mean, I know they have their Apple operating system, but they're a hardware company. You know, they sell hardware, mostly computers, AirPods, you know, laptops, iPads. You know what I mean? So, like, they're not really, like, the biggest software company, but I think they need to figure it out, and they have enough money to. And so I think they probably will, just because of the name of Apple. I think they're going to figure it out, but I don't know if we can be that critical on them regarding AI, considering the hardware aspect of their company mostly. TKO, yeah, TKO, which is the UFC parent company, is running up. Again, it's too elevated for me to buy it right here, though. Like, listen, I'm a big UFC fan, MMA fan, jiu-jitsu fan, but this thing's up big percentages on the year. It's up like 45% on the year. A bit too big for me. All right, NASDAQ coming down. It's at 833s. SS solid state battery can now go over 600 miles. Yeah. QuantumScape over 22% yesterday. Solid state battery. Cadence expands digital twin platform library with NVIDIA DGX SuperPod model to accelerate AI data center development and operations. Yeah, this is up on the news. I wouldn't say most stuff is up 300% on the year. I think certainly not most. Effective federal funds rate up to yesterday was unchanged. Cantor Fitzgerald launches a new Bitcoin and gold fund. Investors get 45% of Bitcoin upside with gold protecting principal. Wall Street blending Bitcoin and gold. You guys like gold and Bitcoin being wrapped together? Speaking of gold, all right, look at this drop in markets, guys. Wow. Look at this drop. All right, so there's an explosion heard overseas. This might be dragging markets down. Gold spiking up. Like, here's the previous closing price on the NASDAQ. Look at where we bounce right here, guys. Look at that. Top 3 levels ever. I don't know if that's what's driving this move down. It looks like NVIDIA related, though. This looks like NVIDIA and microchip related here. I don't see anything that's moving NVIDIA, though. Apple expected to offer thinner air model, but AI features continue to vex company. Cadence expands digital twin platform library with digital twin of NVIDIA DGX SuperPod. Again, look at NVIDIA bounce right at the previous closing price too at 168. I don't see any other news here though that's driving this market move down. All right, guys. So again, we got this big benchmark revision here. Going live in not that long. And so we're still holding at 800. Nvidia just rebounded all the way back up here. Axios reporter on X citing senior Israel official says it's an operation against the senior official. Yeah, those big candles are usually news. Like, so what you see here a lot is that, like, you get these big candles, and a lot of the time technical traders will be like, oh, that's a technical move, that's a big 928 crossover downward move. It's very rarely that. Most of the time you get a big old candle like that, it's catalyst driven, right? Because, like, fundamental catalysts will trump not any, but will trump most technicals. Outside of maybe like all-time highs and some other small ones, but we did bounce right there at 23.8 though. Nvidia bounced right at the previous closing price too, so this is why you should watch the previous close. A lot of the time they're bounce levels. Up 7. Minutes into the opening bell though. Looking at our poll, we did a poll this morning. 58% are bullish, 42% are bearish. Mostly bulls today is what I'm showing here. All right, so I'm showing a news report that came out that said Apple's going to raise iPhone prices despite tariff success. Wedbush says Apple has managed tariffs well, but they expect iPhone Pro and Pro Max prices to rise $50 to $100. With the new launch, shifting production to India will be a $1 billion headwind this quarter, but the move eases long-term concerns. Analysts note that 315 million of Apple's 1.5 billion users haven't upgraded in 4+ years, creating a strong upward demand even with higher prices. Investors' focus is shifting towards Apple's AI strategy for the iPhone 17 and beyond. So, I mean, we'll see if Apple comes out with any AI-related stuff today. I think that'll be optimistic for Apple if they do, you know. Look at that bounce, though, man. Right back up here. Apple's been moving up mostly, although today's quieter. But, you know, month of September started here for Apple. Or no, it's right here. I'm sorry. And so Apple's green relative to where it was. Start the month. CWD breaking highs again. Sell the news like always. Yeah, a lot of the time Apple does sell the news. Well, what happened on that candle is we had the overseas news come out. Gold up to 36.93s. Look at gold pump up here. Obviously, gold's had a really strong couple weeks. Broke all-time highs numerous times. Again, hit that subscribe button, guys. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much. We're growing here. We appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button if you haven't already. We do this live every day. We cover all the major economic and market news. We trade live as well, although I don't even claim to be a good trader. We just kind of give people free information, cover market news as soon as it happens, trade the opening bell. But again, if you want a one-stop shop that covers all the big market news, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, Apple has like most. Okay, and I've said this 1,000 times, but I really do believe it. And as somebody that does not have an Apple phone, right? Like, I have a Samsung phone. I like Samsung better, personally. I've always used Samsung. And so I'm not going to switch to an Apple phone, you know? As a programmer, I always like Samsung a little bit more. It was more free. I could download stuff. I don't have to worry about red tape as much. But I think what Apple does in terms of marketing, especially to young people, is incredibly smart. Incredibly smart. Again, I've got a 16-year-old. I could give her the newest, coolest Samsung device ever, and she would rather take a 4-year-old iPhone. You know, as well as like even the text is like, even if you use a different brand than an iPhone, it restricts you a little bit when you're communicating with friends and everything else like that if they have iPhones. And young people want to fit in. And once you start a phone brand, you usually stay with it. And so Apple's done a really good job of getting young people to want iPhones versus everything else, at least here in the United States, right here in the US. And so I think that dynamic will continue, you know. And I think in that regard, Apple's very smart. You see it with AirPods as well. You know? I mean, if you think that's brainwashing, then all of marketing is brainwashing, Raven. You know what I mean? Like, we can't call that brainwashing and then not call all the other marketing that you see in commercials and everything else not. You know, it's all the same thing. Yeah, I get it though. Sorry, here somebody's asking me to look. Curious to take 2 minutes to look at Microsoft. Today, great earnings was so bullish, but since earnings, it is clearly in a bullish trend. Curious of your opinion. Yeah, I mean, it reacted negatively to earnings back here, right? This was, or no, this wasn't earnings. What did Microsoft react so negatively to here? Why did Microsoft drop on the 5th? When was the 5th? 5th was Friday? Oh, it's the payroll data. Sorry, yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so this is payroll drop. But I think Microsoft, I mean, Microsoft might be time to buy. I don't know. Not saying to buy Microsoft here, but it's in a reasonable little pullback. Microsoft, you got to understand, they own a piece of OpenAI. Obviously, they're big in software. I think they're going to be fine long term. Short term, I don't know. But even for short term, it doesn't look like a terrible time to buy a pullback. But if you're wrong, you just have to DCA into it long term, and you'll probably come out above water with it. But again, not an investment professional. Nothing here is financial advice. We don't know what where it's going to go. But I don't hate it right here. Yeah, the marketing that gets me the most is video game play to win marketing. As somebody that has kids, it's so much worse than it was growing up. Like, growing up, bro, you buy a game, you buy a game. Now every game is riddled with, if you want to upgrade your person, you got to spend $20, $30, and they trap you into it. So like, older people are a little bit more resilient with it, but like younger people, they get trapped in it. Like, they say, hey, you got to buy this within, 3 hours or you lose it. You'll never see it again. And they do that over and over and over again every single freaking day. There's a new thing that if you don't buy it now, you'll miss out on. And so children are just going up to their parents, asking them for money. And it's manipulative, to be honest. I have to kind of teach my kids, hey, listen, they're doing this on purpose. They're trying to milk you. Like, you know, you'll be okay if you miss out on it. There's going to be a new one every day that they're going to make you feel guilty if you miss out on it, you know. Yeah. Almost feels like a rotational top risk on small caps. Yeah, maybe. It's possible. All right, guys, we got 13 minutes. Let's see what the opening bell brings. All right, so the president just called for 50, 75, maybe 100 basis point rate cuts. He said the Federal Reserve is broken. It needs to be fixed. Where's he saying this? Okay, this is what he said. Let's read it. The president said if the Fed had followed what we published, they would have raised rates in early 2021. The entire organization is broken. It needs to be fixed. They need to use modern sources of info. We strongly disagree with Ken Griffin. He, too late, has done a terrible job since he adapted a 2 target. It's too low. It's too rigid. They follow data that's years delayed. They don't believe that money supply matters. We think that's a much bigger problem than this notion that they are dependent or they're not independent. Jay Hatfield, Infrastructure Capital CEO and CIO, and Maria B. Chair Powell was too late to raise rates. They need to come down here. There's no question about it. He's dragging his feet. The Fed going to come down. Fed going to come down here 50, 75, maybe 100. According to Greg Farinello, American Securities, on Maria B. Do you guys agree with this? You guys agree with this? Yeah. Trueflation showed 1.9%, clearly different data than the Fed. Maybe. Yeah. Cutting 100 basis points in September would cause a panic? Probably. I mean, we're not going to do a full percent basis point cut. I just don't think that's going to happen. You know? In one meeting. It's just not going to happen. Again, the risk, just to give you both sides of it, right? What the president is saying is that he thinks we should cut rates more. Because if not, we're potentially heading towards a recession. Is essentially what he's saying. On the other end of that, the risk of cutting rates too much is it might spike inflation. If we're too easy, if we're too stimulative, it might spike inflation. It might cause inflation to get worse, not better. You know, And again, both sides have an argument. I'm not agreeing with either side here. Both sides have an argument, especially right now where I think inflation is elevated. A lot of people are yelling stagflation. But yeah, it's a risk. Yeah, it would, yeah. Yeah, but Mike Skull, so you have to understand, he said, we're already in a recession when half the workforce can't afford to pay their bills this week, or week to week. Yeah, but that would be the opposite of a recession, sir. That would be, like, recession is like 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. It's more a reflection of the labor market and people not having jobs, right? What you're describing is inflation, right? Which is actually something that rate cuts could make worse. And so again, it's not I think it's somewhere, it's ambiguous. It's kind of in the middle. I think we could probably argue a rate cut though. I think we could have argued one last meeting as well. Let's start small, figure out, like, you know, appease people and figure it out from there is what I think we should do based off of data. And today's benchmark revision to data in about 36 minutes is going to be a big story of it. We'll see what happens. Where's oil today? I haven't really looked at oil as much. Gold's still pushing higher. Oil pushing up as well after the stuff going on overseas. I don't think rates going down cause inflation. I think when you have 37. Yeah, I mean, that might be true, Tony. Money printing certainly causes inflation, and that's why I'm trying to tell people we shouldn't do QE right now. And I don't think anybody's considering QE. If the Fed announced they're doing QE, I would just sink my head. I don't think we should do money printing at all. The only people that really want to do QE are crypto people. And I like crypto. I'm in crypto. I'm a crypto person. But I don't want QE. I don't want crypto to spike enough to want us to do QE, because I know what that means, and that means inflation. And so I think a lot of them don't really understand. They just want QE because they want their prices to go up. But the problem is everybody else is paying for that. So it's not really worth it. All right, guys. Hey, we got 4 minutes left. 4 minutes. All right, guys. Y'all ready? I hurt my back yesterday training. Oh, dude. Not as bad as it could have been. I thought I was going to wake up today with some pain, but I didn't. Ugh. All right, guys, look at Marvel spiking up. I'm in Marvel right now. Marvel just spiked. Let's see if this is news related. American Express says consumer spending. We've had a couple banks come out and say consumer spending has been strong as July through August saw a bounce back in travel and entertainment. No, I mean, it happened because in jiu-jitsu there's a very famous saying. And the saying goes, the black belt is not the most dangerous person in the gym, the white belt is. It's very true, honestly. They're crazy. You know, they don't know what they're doing, so they just kind of jump around and do a bunch of crazy stuff, and that's where you get hurt. And that's what happened. Will the market go up or down from rate cuts, guys, is the question. You know, we've had a couple banks come out this morning that said they think the market's going to go down with rate cuts. I train both no-gi and gi. I like no-gi a little bit more because, like, my strength is speed. Like, I'm fast, and so I can dance around the opponent to pass their guard, you know. And a gi, it kind of slows it down a little bit. I like gi too. I like bow and arrow chokes a lot. That's like my favorite choke is a bow and arrow. But I like no gi a little bit more. NASDAQ pushing back up here a little bit. NVIDIA spiking up. It's almost to 169.50s. It's beginner friendly. I mean, they'll still roll with you. The standard of it is more so like you're supposed to reciprocate their aggression. And so if you train with somebody that's new, that's hyper aggressive, the higher belt's going to reciprocate that back to you, you know, to kind of slow you down a little bit. Anyways, market opens up in a minute. We got 1 minute. Let's see what happens. 1 minute left. The term is roll. Again, president posted not too long ago, the Fed's going to come down here 50, 75, maybe 100 basis points. That would be a full percent, would be 100 basis points. You guys think we should? Do you guys agree? I'm not even saying I agree or disagree. I'm pretty neutral. 30 seconds left, guys. Hit the live button. All right, guys, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. We're at 840s right now. There's the bell. I don't think they're doing 100 basis points. I don't think that's going to happen. Not this meeting. All right, NASDAQ pushing up here. Let's watch gold. Gold broke all-time highs and then pulled back a little bit right before the opening bell, 2 minutes before the open. Watch NVIDIA here. Remember, we are going into this payroll data here. We're too close to the bell for me to trade. We're only 1 minute into the day, but less than 30 minutes now. We got the payroll revision data at 10 a.m. Just take rates to zero. Honestly, the rates going to zero, as well as like the quantitative easing that we got in 2020, are what really made inflation get as bad as they are now. You want to know why people are unhappy modern age right now? Why people say they can't afford things? It's because of the inflation that we got from the QE and the zero interest rates in 2020. And so, all right, guys, NVIDIA hitting that previous closing price again, bouncing directly off of it. Microsoft dumping down a little bit here. Gold looks like it might try to break highs again. Gold's up there. Nasdaq's getting up there too. A lot of stuff bouncing right at the previous close. Again, we got the benchmark revision coming out in 25 minutes or so, 27 minutes. Here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 113 today. It's doing okay. Nasdaq still pushing. Looks strong. We're still only 2.5 minutes. I gotta wait a little while. I mean, it certainly has to do with greed, right? But sometimes inflation and greed are synonymous. Gold just broke all-time highs. Gotta wait a little while longer before I can trade. I'm not gonna trade the open 5 minutes, but you mean CRCL circle? There's a retracement back. All right, we're 4 minutes into the day. I'm gonna try to buy this down here. See if we can retrace back up some. But it's pretty close to the bell, so I gotta be careful. We got a cushion on the day, so we should be fine regardless. Let's see if we fill this gap a little bit here. There we go. Take a piece of this off just to protect the trade. Make it cheaper. Add one more piece to this, see if we bounce off that 200 exponential, and then I'll cut it. We gotta cut it. Trading too close to the open, maybe. I'm gonna switch this account. We were green on it, now we're kind of flat. I'm gonna switch to a different account. Nvidia's starting to move back up too. Let's see if it holds. I'm gonna jump back in this here, green. Up small. See if we can let it ride a little bit. About flat on the day now. We bounce here. There we go. We're gonna take half off there. We're gonna get out the rest here. So we're green now. Nvidia's driving this push. Yeah, the bell was 7 minutes ago. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up in stream. This is Nvidia pump right now. Nvidia's ripping back up to 169.50s here. That's what's driving the NASDAQ. Kind of stagnant though. We're not really doing much here for a lot of equities. There's penny stocks that ran up big or fallen down big. I think Octo is halted now. Again, what goes up in penny stocks is going to come back down. I told you guys these wouldn't hold. A lot of people are stuck in it. When did this get halted? This got halted. Okay, so Octo will resume. Let's watch this one. It'll resume in like 1 minute or so, I think. Look at gold still ripping up, breaking all-time highs. Yeah, Octo and CWD got halted on the downside. It's a party until it gets halted on the downside. Both of these should resume in about 5 seconds. Anywhere between, anytime between the next 60 seconds. They're probably 5-minute halts. Usually when these get halted, they're 5-minute halts. But might just kind of watch the carnage here, see what happens. This is halted on the downside. That was Octo right here. Yeah, I used to trade them, so it's fun to watch, but I understand them as well. Like, I know they're not going to hold. And when, okay, look, there goes Octo, gapping down, halted, and then gapping down. It could rip back up. You know, sometimes they do, right? But I know long-term it's just not going to hold. Halted again, I think. Look at this fade. NASDAQ still looks okay here. It's pretty choppy, but... Alright, look, there's CWD is back up. Yeah, I'll tune in just to watch it. Look at Octo fall. You know. CWD breaking lows. The open. Yeah, I mean, it could go up again. Again, I'm not messing with it, though. It's too risky. I was thinking about shorting it at the open, but that's probably too risky as well. A lot of fake outs happening in the NASDAQ, though. This is mostly driven by Nvidia. 19 minutes until the revision data drops. I almost want to short this down to 23.8. Risky though. All right, look at this drop. Yeah, maybe I should have shorted it. I mean, we're green on the day. We're green since the open too. But too many retracements today, to be honest. Like, look at all these candle wicks. Like, we're going up and down and up and down and up and down. It's hard to bet on any of this stuff right here. We're under the 200 exponential. I tend to think we might come down and retest this. But Nvidia's going up and down here. So Nvidia's up and then down. It might move back up, and then that might drag this higher. I really don't know. I think it's too indecisive right now in market action. Payroll data probably making people not, you know, fear. Yeah, the payroll revision data might be scaring people. All right, guys. 15 minutes or so. I'm gonna short this. Just hold one little baby trade. See if it breaks down to where I thought it would. And this is not really holding in either direction here. Yeah, look at CWD break. Let's see Octo break. Yeah, so I took a short. I want to give it a second because we're so sideways. But I don't know if I'm feeling it right now. I'm gonna cut it right here, I think. I'm still green, but which accounts? What else we got? If they revise jobs down less than expected here, maybe we'll get some movement on the upside. I don't know. We're pushing up. It looks kind of strong. Let's see if this holds. We get a breakout of a range now. We just dump down. A lot of it's going to depend on NVIDIA here. What NVIDIA does is crucial. NVIDIA went up and retraced here. CWD and Octo both falling down quick. Where's Apple at? Apple has their event in a couple hours here. Apple starting to test lows. Did it buy the rumor, sell the news, or sell the rumor, buy the news for Apple? Yeah, I got your part. I saw it. I'll schedule it. Yeah, I got you. Again, remember, we got the payroll benchmark revision. Market's stagnant, though. I think it's waiting for the payroll data. Again, just to give you guys a preview into this in about 13 minutes. Every year, the Bureau of Labor Statistics revises its non-farm payroll employment estimates. This is done by comparing the monthly survey-based payroll data with more comprehensive QCEW data. It helps correct errors and biases in the original monthly job estimates. Today, that releases at 10 a.m. for the prelim benchmark revision. Analysts are expecting a downward revision from 450 to 800,000 jobs, which would mean the actual average monthly job gains were weaker than initially reported, showing much more weakness signs in the labor market. And, yeah. We get a really weak number, it could mean earlier, or it could be more cuts next week. I don't think it's going to. It depends on the inflation data tomorrow and Thursday, but it could mean something like that. If the revision is large and downward, it signals the labor market has been weaker than they thought and shift Fed policy. Markets often react immediately to this, and so we'll see what happens. It's the prelim numbers, but it's still relevant. Will the market react positively or negatively to this data, chat? Let me know in chat. I'll do another poll real quick. Do a poll real quick. Are you bullish or bearish on today's NFP revision, benchmark revision data? Vote on the poll. NASDAQ pushing up. This is mostly driven by Amazon, Meta, Google. It's a very stagnant market, though. We're in a pretty tight range here. All right, look at this fall down. This is mostly driven by Nvidia right now. Look at Nvidia hit the previous close. It's bounced off of that level a bunch today. I'm going to short this, I think. Although we could just get straight chop. I've been shorting it in my other account. Let me show you. You see the trades that I've taken today in my main account. We've had 2 losses out of 20 here. Pretty good accuracy so far. Been kind of scalping these moves because I don't really trust them, to be honest. But yeah. 10 minutes, chat. 10 minutes. Today's report is weak. The market will still turn bearish. Maybe. 58% think bullish today. Yeah, if the numbers aren't revised down as much as people are worried about, then maybe we will react positively to it. I don't know. But vote on the poll. Better off just waiting for the numbers to come up. Gonna go stop hunting? Maybe. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Yeah, we're pretty stagnant, but we're starting to flush a little bit. This is mostly driven by Nvidia. Yeah, there goes Octo giving back the gains it's made. Not unpredictable. Pretty predictable, I should say. Again, you can see Meta and Microsoft pushing up. Google. Actually, it's Meta, Amazon. Where's gold at? Gold's still breaking all-time highs. Just broke all-time highs again. Nine minutes. Now we're starting to flush down ahead of the payrolls. A little bit late of a response, but we're still starting to move down. Expected a negative 598,000. 598,000. 9 minutes. 8 minutes, really. All right, yeah, we got it ready. So again, the Bureau of Labor Statistics is going to release its BLS or CES prelim benchmark announcement today, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We got it ready. All right, guys. So Nasdaq's breaking down here. We got 6 minutes left here. 6 minutes left. Be ready. Benchmark revision drop soon. Yeah, I'm still in HIMS as well, I think. Yeah, I mean, HIMS is down on the day. I'm still in HIMS, though. I'm in at 41. It's at 50 right now. So we made a really nice 20% there. Or actually, that's 25% technically. Yeah, not quite 25. It's like 23. But still. 5 minutes left. 5.5 minutes. Again, they're expecting negative 600,000 is what I'm showing. 598K is what I'm showing for a number. Again, we're going to go through all of it live in 5 minutes. Hit the live button. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed if you haven't already, chat. Live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll be fully caught up with the stream. Nasdaq's starting to break down. 23.8 is the previous closing price. This is the level at which Nasdaq goes red or green on the day right here. 23.8. Really, I think it's 798.50, but still, we're right at that level now. The red to green level on the Nasdaq with 4.5 minutes left. What do you dislike about him, MC? I think they solved a problem in their, you know. All right, guys, 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Hit the live button next to the play button. We'll catch it. Again, the benchmark revision. This is prelim benchmark revision data. That's probably a fair criticism, I think, MC. All right, guys, 3.5 minutes into the benchmark revision data. Good or bad, bull or bearish? Chat, let me know. Is this good or bad, bull or bear? Let me know in chat. See, look, so we're bouncing again at the previous closing price for the Nasdaq, showing indecisiveness. Nvidia's sitting there completely flat on the day as well. Gold just broke all-time highs again here. And we got Apple pushing up ahead of their event today, but still down on the day pretty much overall. Apple, a lot of the time, is sell the news, especially from these iPhone events. Yields are pretty mixed today. FedWatch is down. All right, guys. Here we go. Negative 598,000 is the average I'm showing here. Yeah, remember, tomorrow we got CPI, or tomorrow we have PPI inflation data. 2.5 minutes left. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. The data's going to come out soon. NASDAQ's pretty flat, pretty choppy. NVIDIA bouncing, gold breaking all-time highs. Apple down on the day. I think Google, Microsoft, and Meta are up nicely on the day. Here we go. About 2 minutes left. Look at this candle on the NASDAQ here. I'm going to put a 1 minute chart up now. I've been trading on 5 minute most of the day, but I zoom in a little bit with this 1 minute chart ahead of this data release. We got a minute and a half left, roughly a minute and a half left. Depends on what kind of stop. If it's a limit stop, that's possible, I bet. If it's a market stop, it's going to hit as soon as the price hits, and it's going to fill you at the best possible price immediately. Market orders fill you at the best possible price immediately. Limit orders have to get hit at a very specific price or better. All right, guys, here we go. We got 1 minute left. A minute and 10 seconds, really. All right, here we go. You guys ready? Negative 598,000 is the average expected number for the benchmark revision data. Again, we're going to cover it as soon as it drops. Hit the notification bell. As soon as it comes out, we're going to cover it. We're going to watch yields. I'm going to put gold up. I'm going to put dollar index up. Leave NVIDIA up here. So this does the gold. Dollar. All right, guys, here we go. 20 seconds, 20 seconds. You guys ready? This timer's a little bit early, a little bit. We got about 10 seconds left. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. Here we go. Here's the numbers. Dropping in about 5 seconds. And here's the report. Market hasn't reacted yet. Side is down as we speak here. Side is down. Okay, so current employment situation for March. Here's the data right here. National benchmark revision is negative 911,000 for March. 911,000 revised jobs down. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today the annual revisions over the last 10 years have hold on, let me stress this out. Have an absolute average of 0.2% of total non-farm employment. In accordance with usual practice, the final benchmark revision issued next year. Again, 911,000, 0.6%. Wow. Negative 911,000. Markets are digesting this after. Remember, we covered here first before this drop in the NASDAQ. You're welcome. Again, negative 911,000. Yeah. 911,000 jobs revised down. The Goldman Sachs was right. They thought it would be revised down about 1 million. 911,000. Previous was negative 682 prior of negative 598,000. So, yeah. I'll put this data up on screen. But that ain't good. That's a big revision downward. You're welcome. We cover this faster than everybody. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. You're welcome. Gold just broke all-time highs again. Dollar index is down. Let's see yields right now. I'm curious to see what yields are doing. Yields are dumping, as they should be on this report. Weak yields. Yields and interest rate follow each other, so this is weak labor data, more probable for rate cuts now. As Is the Fed watch tool back up? Yeah, but look, you can see yields dump down on this report. Doesn't mean anything. This means maybe greater odds of rate cuts is what this means. And so maybe the market's going to interpret that as a positive thing. It's very possible. But again, 911,000 revised jobs down for the benchmark revision data. 911,000. Yeah, that's weak. That's not good. What do you guys think here? Negative 911,000 jobs revised down. How much do we cut next month? Unless we get, what's interesting is that yields are actually up a little bit now. They're kind of flat, but look at yields. Yields are actually reacting kind of positively to this. Interesting. See if the Fed watch tool changes its tune here. It's down. CME Fed watch tool is down currently. Frozen. Is this good for crypto? It means more economic stimulus is potentially on the table is what it means. Again, the NASDAQ reacting negatively to this report. Dollar index is spiking up now. But the NASDAQ is falling. Yeah, it means weakness in the labor market. It doesn't mean this is going to hold. I mean, markets can do anything here. If markets are more optimistic regarding rates, then... Yeah, look. CME watch tool is down right now. Interesting. Not loading. You can watch yields if you want to see what they're doing. You know, yields going up means higher interest rate sentiment. Yields going down means lower interest rate sentiment. Pretty sure yields are going up from this report, though. Hold on. Yeah, they're up a little bit, actually. Maybe markets were expecting weaker numbers here, but... Look at 10-year yield spike a little bit on this data. Yeah, it depends on what the inflation data shows up as. Remember, tomorrow, guys, we have PPI inflation data. PPI inflation data tomorrow. It's not a small report. It's a big report. It's a relevant report. You want to be careful, okay? Tomorrow, we get a real first look at what we might potentially see here for inflation data now. Very relevant report. NASDAQ's starting to rebound up here. So again, sometimes the first move is the wrong move. It's very possible it is. Yeah, we got PPI inflation data. This is going to be a big one, too. NASDAQ's starting to bounce back up. Yields are up, too, here. $8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, guys. We're going to get PPI inflation data. All right, so NASDAQ bounced up a little bit, starting to fall down. Look at gold decrease here. The gold coming down some on this report. Dollar index spiking up a little bit here. I appreciate all the follows here, guys. We got a bunch of follows here. Thanks so much. On x.com at Beginner Trades. Also, guys, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. They're a sponsor of mine. A great way to learn how to day trade. Most day traders lose regardless of where you go. So you got people telling you to fund your own account If you're brand new as a day trader, let's be real, you're probably going to lose those accounts. Makes no sense to. $50 a month for Top Step. You're risking something, but you're not risking the full extent of funding thousands into your own account and probably losing it. And so it makes way more sense if you pass it, 50K funded account, 90% split, you're going to keep your first 10K. If you fail it, you lose $50 a month. And so it's not the end of the world. It's a great way to learn how to trade in a structured environment. And it's the best of both worlds. Limited risk, similar reward. I'm biased because I get paid by them. But they're genuinely useful for traders, in my opinion. But they're a sponsor of mine, so I'm biased. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. But if you want to check it out, they have their back to funded option as well, which is really useful. You can reset funded accounts now, too. There's the link right there. Check it out. Great way to help support the channel. Not an investment professional. I don't even claim to be a good trader. I got one sponsor. I'm pretty transparent about my bias here. Look at the NASDAQ pushing up at 820s. At 820s. Yeah, Nvidia bouncing back up as well. The dollar index bouncing back up some too. So maybe this means earlier cuts is what I'm thinking this means here. CME watch tool still down. Fed watch tool still down. And we're green on the day. Again, 8:30. We got PPI inflation data tomorrow at 8:30. The last one was crazy bad. Not good. Bad. We got CPI on Thursday. NASDAQ's starting to react favorably to this, though. Let's see if it holds. All right, guys. Negative 911,000 jobs revised downward here. I still can't get into the CME watch tool, but I can watch yields. Probably got so much traffic ahead of this report. And again, yields are actually up from this report, which is interesting. They're at 4.066% for 10-year. Yields are up. NASDAQ's pushing up. Dollar index is pushing up here. Look at all this stuff. Oh, interesting. Where's Bitcoin at? Gold's down. Bitcoin's down. If they revise jobs down 900, it's buy the rumor, sell the news. It has to be. If they revise jobs down 911,000, what it means is more economic stimulus might potentially be coming. If Bitcoin and other crypto like stimulus, in theory, they should react positively, but they're reacting negatively. In theory, 10-year yield should be dropping from this report because of a lower interest rate sentiment, but instead, yields are up, Bitcoin's down, kind of backwards land, but I guess it's buy the rumor, sell the news. And I think this maybe is just locking in like 25 basis point rate cuts is the story, I think, there. Markets are pricing in 25 instead of 50 now. Maybe it wasn't as bad as some people thought. We thought we'd get over 1 million. It came in at negative 911,000. And so I think that's kind of what's going on. Or it could just be waiting. We could see some later reactions to this data later on in the day. That's possible too. The data was weak. It was bearish for the labor market, bullish for rate cuts, but markets are kind of reacting inverse to that. I think the market wants cuts, though. Start quantitative easing? No, do not start QE. Again, cut rates 50 if you want. Don't do QE. That's bad. Why do you guys think we're in such high inflation territory over the last 5 years? Can anybody make a guess of that? Of why inflation spiked so much? I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Supply chain problems. That's not the answer I'm talking about. You know. Anybody guess why inflation's gotten bad over a 5-year period? I'll give you a hint. It starts with a Q, and it's not T. You know. I'm not even mad at them doing it in 2020 because I think 2020 was crazy. But you can't compare then to now and have any type of reasonable correlation, you know. Spencer Rattler. I didn't think he did that bad, even though the Saints lost. I don't think he did that bad, even though the Saints did not do well. Saints lost. The Bengals won. Joe Burrow won. That's good. They didn't win by much, and it was stressful to watch. But listen, they won. They got the dub. I'm okay with this. Saints, I've already discounted the Saints a long time ago. I want the Saints to win. They just don't. You know? Unfortunately, they just don't. Smooth sounds of jazz and John in the morning. Apparently. Alright, guys. Listen, as soon as we close this stream out, it's immediately going to bring you to, as soon as we close this stream out, it's immediately going to bring you to, our stream tomorrow. Listen, guys, if you do not wait at your computer until tomorrow's PPI stream starts at 7:15 in the morning, you're not a real fan here, okay? If you don't stick around and wait, y'all don't really love me. You know what I mean? Again, I expect all of you guys to sit around and wait for tomorrow. If you don't, I judge you. And I'll see you guys then. Again, as soon as I end the stream, it'll bring you there, okay? As soon as I end the stream, it'll bring you there. I expect you all to wait 24 hours at your computer. No bathroom breaks. Do it.